Hello and welcome. If you're here, thanks for joining. So today we have a lot of predefined colors because we are working on this. Let me pull up the Dribbble shot here. So this here I found on Dribbble today. I really like the way everything looks here. I think it's a great design. Not sure how it's going to break down because all we got was the desktop design, and it's huge, might I add. They're working with a width of like 1922, I think. So that's pretty big. Let's see. Yeah, 1922 pixels wide. So scaling that is going to be interesting, but it's great because, as you can see in the image, they have included a free download for a Figma design. So that is what I've done here. I've opened up this design in Figma, and I'm able to get everything out of this. So all of the assets that I need. So that's really cool. All the way down to the icons and stuff here. So and it's super high quality, so I can get pretty close to being pixel perfect, which I'm very excited about. There's a lot of cool elements here that I want to discuss. So just kind of going over the design for starters here. We've got a three-piece header with the logo and the company name over here. There we've got a menu, and then we've got a get started button. Outside of that, we've got this cool header here, or this cool hero, I should say, with this ellipse background and some images around here. And then we've got a couple of different sections, all with different, very interesting backgrounds. Some cool, like, gritty components here, possibly Flexbox. A lot of colors being used here, which I'm a big fan of. But it's still kind of like a light theme. We've got some very interesting elements here. One thing that I think is really cool is that on these elements, we've got a consistent border radius between a semi-transparent border and the actual element here. That's going to be interesting to figure out. We've got these cool icons that have quite a bit of padding and a nice background. And then we've got on this background, we've got these SVG shapes, which are pretty neat. And then we've got this brand section, which I really like. That's going to be fun to work with. And pretty decent footer going on here. Yeah, I'm really into this, and I'm excited to kind of get this going. So for starters, I have already gotten all of the colors out of that. I've also done some calculations to determine the horizontal padding, and we are going to have some fun with that. I've also gone and gotten the fonts already. I've got Google Fonts set up. I was very lucky that they're using a font that was available on Google Fonts, as well as Font Awesome. I got that set up, and just the normalized CSS, and then I've got my standard CSS here with all of the colors defined. So I've never used an SVG background like this before, so this is going to be interesting to use to figure out. So what I was able to do here was actually go into this here mask group, which defines this background. So I've got the background going on, I've got all of these cool shapes, and then we've got a whole rectangle with an ellipse. And what's going on is I think this ellipse is just defining the border here, and then this is actually masking this background. So I have already got that over here. So I was able to take this mask group like so, and then use SVG to export it. I could do it as PNG, a JPG, SVG, a PDF, and then export it so that it's scalable and everything. So I did it as SVG, and then I was able to pull the code right here into the HTML. But I'm having a little bit of trouble scaling that, and like I said, I'm not super familiar with SVG, so I think it would be good to just export this as a PNG, because then we get our vector in there, or our transparent layer in there. And then we can go here. I've already created a file structure and everything too. So let's just kind of get that going, and we'll be able to use, oh, I can't, all right, that's interesting. So let me pull up a Finder window up here, get that going. There we go. All right. Cool. So here we go. Oof. Alright, so now that hero background is cool. So I'm just going to start by getting the nav coded up, and then we'll kind of work on that display. So let me just do this so that I'm not killing my RAM with this. Alright. So we're going to start with the nav, which has a logo, a menu, and a call to action. And then we're going to get this hero coded up. So a logo, a menu, and a button, which is a CTA, which I think all the buttons are actually going to look the same. So we can just give that, we don't even have to give that a class, and we're actually going to call it an anchor tag, which just says get started. So then for the logo, I did also get that downloaded. There it is. Pretty cool. So we'll throw that in. Always make sure to include your alt tags, or your alt attributes on your image tags, I should say. And we're going to look at this menu. So we've got home, your benefits, our process. All works, testimonials. And start a project. Cool, got all that. So that's everything that's going to be there. And then we've got our hero. And we're going to have some elements here. Digital project design agency. We are a creative and professional digital agency. And we've got that call to action. And then we've got this group of images right here. So in Figma, we can go to the header and find that image. And that's going to be actually a whole group of images. So let's see if we can export that whole group there. We can. So we're not actually going to have to deal with all of the border radiuses and stuff, which is cool. There's so many elements going on here, and it looks like that's going to be static assets. So we're just going to export that whole image, and then we'll be able to download or just use that. And there we go. So unfortunately, these are huge. So if this were a production site, I would not be doing this. Raphael Paul says Figma is like front-end Mentor. No, Figma is not like front-end Mentor. Figma is actually a how do I even begin to explain? It's a design tool. Way back in the day, we used to use things like Dreamweaver and Photoshop, and I think Silverlight is the Microsoft product to design websites. And now things like Figma and Sketch are kind of like the bleeding edge of website design tools. Now, mind you, that's just design, that's not implementation. So we're not talking about using any HTML or CSS here. This is all just, creating elements on the screen. So it's a bit like, it's like very, I'm not going to say abstract because it can get non-abstract, but very like high level design tool rather than low level, getting into the code about it. So what's cool about Figma is that, you can really get into making some very detailed UIs and it's more of a design system. I'm not super familiar with it. In fact, this is the first time I've created a Figma account, but I'm familiar with similar systems. So I know that this is got a lot of capabilities, and I've been using it for like an hour, and it's super easy to use, very intuitive, and I can't believe I've never used this before. So very happy about that. So we have got almost everything in here now. Let me just get this. Hero image.png alt equals, I don't know, what are we going to call that? Let's pull it up here. Hero image. Examples, product examples. Yeah, Raphael Paul, no problem. If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I love sharing knowledge. Okay, so we don't have that SVG in there anymore. So now just going back over to our live view of what we got going on. Pretty much nothing going on here, right? So we're gonna start by giving the body a font family of, we're looking at DM sans. And a font size, the base is going to be 16 pixels. And we have got some other things to work out. So we have got the color is going to be light text all around, except for when it's not. So we have got for example, everything up here has a white text. So we're going to go with text white, color white, and then we've also got the blue text of the buttons, but I think that's the only thing that has the blue text, so we're just going to leave that. But we do have this green text, and I think that's just going to be the dark green. Over here we have got, so we've got text light as well. So actually this color should be this dark text up here. So that's going to be the default color, and then we're going to have a text light color as well. So that's going to be, so just by default it's going to have this darker color, and then we've got this lighter color down here. So we'll just do that. Light text. All right. We have got some kind of opaque stuff here. So we're going to say text transparent, and we're going to say opacity is going to be 0.8. We'll probably have to tighten that number up a little bit in the future. All of this stuff we'll get into, but we do have, I believe that's going to be that same green text, or that teal text maybe. Teal or green. Yeah, that's like the same thing. And then that's going to be about it for font colors. Cool. So let's kind of get into this. I'm just going to use this logo here because that's like a whole different font family. I'm not pulling in a whole different font family for one font. If I wanted to, I could probably just download that whole thing, but it's not really relevant, so I'm not going to worry about that. So we've got our nav, and we need to do a flex display on it so that it scales well. So we've got our 3 items, which will have a flex direction of row and the justify content property of space between, and then we can do align items center and align content center. And we pop over here and give a look at that. You can see that's already working pretty well. So we need to style our anchor tags. So usually with CSS, excuse me, I like to just kind of section it out into what each group of selectors is doing. So changing browser defaults is going to be one thing that we need to do. So that's going to be like A tags are going to be styled by the browser like this, and we don't want that. There's no point in this design where the text of an anchor tag is blue with an underline. So we want to just kind of undefine those styles. So we're going to go with the color of current color. We're going to go with text decoration none. And that should do it. But we also need to have our visited class, which also has color of current color. And then we're going to have that active class as well, which is going to indicate the page that you're on, and we'll say font weight bold. Current color is not a variable. Current color is, I'm not sure exactly, so I think I would call it an implied variable. I'm not sure what the official name is, but basically current color inherits the color property from the parent element. So right here in body, we have defined the color as dark text. And since these anchor tags here are a child of the body, it will inherit the last defined color of the parent element. So we're going to go ahead and save this, pop over here, and we see that changes up. Cool. Current color. So let's see what that is defined as, that property. So it's like kind of a variable, I guess. So CSS tricks, lovely resource. They say it just has a CSS variable feel to it. And this will work with more than just text. It will work with borders, anything that can accept a color, value, backgrounds, borders, whatever. It's really cool. It's super useful, especially when you have an element that is the same except for in certain contexts. So like if you have a box and you want to give it a border, for example, it will change depending on context. No, CSS tricks is not down. That would be a sad day for everybody. They're still going strong, very strong. Cool, so we've got those A's styled correctly, and I am just going to give a class to this one so that we can see that rule being applied. So we have that bold, and that, that's really not much bolder. But those are the font weights that we've been provided with, so that's what we're going to roll with. Cool, so menu, that whole nav is going to have a color of white because we are going to give the hero a background of that background SVG or PNG now. We're going to say background URL assets /image /hero background.png. Say no repeat center, pop back over here, and that didn't work because why? We need to go there, that's why. Still not working because my path is going to be incorrect for sure. Well, what is it saying it is? It's going to, wow, I just really misspelled that. All right. What is that now? I'm just messing up the paths here really bad. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. All right. So then what we need to do is give this hero a lot of padding on top and move it up by that amount of padding. Or we can just, so we need that padding top. So we need to define a height here of the nav. If I can learn how to type. And I'm just going to go with whatever's here because that'll make it easy peasy. Nav. Computed height 64 pixels sounds pretty good to me. We'll just say 65 to round it off. And we'll say padding top, 65 pixels. And we'll say position relative top, negative 65 pixels. Oop, that's supposed to be negative. And, okay. So we need to make this even greater because that, I believe it's because that H1 has a margin top, a title. Let's see. Oh, that doesn't do it. Still, it kind of doesn't. Something in here. All right. 101 pixels. Sounds pretty good to me. All right, so if we give it a padding top and a position top negative value, it doesn't give the expected thing there. So we'll go padding top 100 pixels or something. See what that looks like. Not great. All right. We also need to keep in mind that we're going to be a lot bigger than that. We've got quite a bit of padding between here as well. So we're going to go with, it's going to be huge. I wonder if we give it a negative margin top, it's going to do anything. Let's take a look here. Oh, yeah, almost. Let's say, yeah, let's just see what that looks like. Hero, margin top, 100. There we go, 132, and padding top. You know what, is it because this background is, yeah. There we go, that's doing it. All right. All right. Go like this. Should be the same. Yep, 65. Alrighty. We're just going to double that number, so that's going to be 130. Cool. Alrighty. Alrighty, so that margin top is going to be negative 65 pixels, and we're going to give it a padding top of 130 pixels. And we need to define some more constraints on our nav up there. So first thing is going to be padding. So we're going to give it a top and bottom padding of 1M, and then I've already gone through and figured out the ratios over here. So we can look at the header and we see it is 1802 wide divided by the 1920 gives us approximately a difference on the total difference on the sizes on the sides of 7%. So I know that the padding on the sides needs to be 3.5%. And that's not going to be 3.5% because that's going to give us 3.5% padding of the width of the nav. We want the VW there. Will the nav styling work in other devices? So, well, what do you mean by that? Will it scale? No, it won't. Not like it stands right now. But what we can do to make it scale is we can use a media query to hide like the menu or the call to action button, and replace that with a menu toggle. So yeah, it'll work to a point, but not all the way down. So we changed the height. We added an M or 2M to the height of the nav, so we have to add 2M to the margin top, or well, we need to subtract 2M, I guess. So we're going to say calc 65 negative 65 pixels minus 2M, and there we go. I think that looks pretty good. I'm digging that. We need to give a little bit of padding to the anchor tags in the nav. We're just going to say, I'll just give it an M, see what that looks like. It's a little wide, but keep in mind we are also working with a screen that is not the same resolution as the source here. So we're going to see things kind of tighten up a bit, which is cool. So let's go ahead and style these buttons. Just added a couple comments in here so I know where things are. Okay, so the button elements, these are going to be, you're going to have pretty big padding, like a lot of padding and a big border radius. So let's go ahead and take a look at what they're telling us. So we're looking at this text. It's got a font size of 14. So this is going to be important. So we've got a font size of 14 pixels. So we're going to call 14 pixels our 1M font size. And then the rest of the button has a height of 61 pixels. So if you interpolate that to so to figure out the padding, we have to take 61 minus the height of the object minus the font size will give us a total amount of padding. So we're looking at 61 minus 14 is going to give you 47, and 40, so that's going to be on either side. 47 divided by 2 is going to be 23.5 pixels of padding on the top and the bottom, and 23.5 14 divided, or 23.5 divided by 14 is going to be something that I can't do off the top of my head. It's going to be 1.67. So we'll say 1.67 M of padding. And then vertically, that looks to be about 2M. I'm not sure. So that's okay though. We will figure that out kind of as we go, just kind of get a look and feel. So we'll say padding of 1.67 M on the top. We'll say about 2M on the sides. Background has to be white. The color is going to be that blue, which is called blue. It's going to have a huge border radius of, let's Let's see. Effects. I think it might be in here. No, no drop shadow on that, please. Oh, there is a bit of a shadow. Oh no, there's not. Okay. Export. Prototype, inspect, properties with radius of 60 pixels, which is going to be about 4M. Pop that open. Wow. Need a little bit more padding on the sides, and we'll be golden. Okay, there we go. I am liking that. So now we can add some hover effects to that as well. Yep. And we just darken the background by 10%, 5%, something like that. With this bright of a color, a little bit is going to get you a long way. So that's too far. That is taking me too far. And I like that a little more. Go a little bit less. Just cutting it in half every time. There we go. Give it a little bit more. Beautiful. That looks pretty good to me. I'm going to go ahead and turn on this live reload thing that they have, which I really like. And for some reason that color is not translating. I'm not really sure why. Let's take a look. Council we've got. Alright, that's fine. We don't need to have a favicon. So it's very clearly got that, or got the right color there. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. Quit that. Alright. I'm not sure why that isn't being applied. Color. It's because right here we say color white. Okay. So we need to move that to be a little bit more specific. So I'll add that not selector. The other thing we can do is we can make this a little bit more specific. I think that might actually be the way to go. We still need to have this. There we go. Perfect. And then this button's looking the same. We've got all of our margins really screwed up down there. So it's not looking quite the same, but still looking the same. All right. So we've got our nav all styled, and we can see it looks pretty terrible when you break it down to a smaller browser. So we're going to work on that. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the word wrap does not break. Word wrap. That's actually going to be the line wrap property, maybe. Let's see. Word wrap none. None is not a possible not sure what the property here is going to be. I think it is going to be word break. Keep all, I think, is the property I'm looking for. Oh. Line break, maybe? No. Line wrap is not a property. Word wrap. Yeah, that doesn't work. Keep all doesn't do anything. Oh, you know what I need to do? That'll make this not do that. Give it a display of block. And that still doesn't work. Okay, so that's going to be okay because after a certain size, we are going to pop that down. We see how that really affected this button down here. Yeah, after a certain size, we just need to pop that down significantly. We can start by saying instead of 2.5M, we can kind of break that padding to be a little bit smaller. So instead of 1.67, we could say like 0.88 and 1.25, and that'll keep it like relative to itself without keeping it as big. That's still huge. I'm not really digging the way this live server thing is going. Yeah, because it's still like the same size. I'm not sure why that's, oh, because I'm not applying any units to those. There we go. All right. Good enough for now. At this width, we'll break that down, hide that menu behind a toggle. And now, getting into the hero. So I've already determined that the padding of the body, or the main section, is going to be it's going to be 18% horizontal padding. And that's going to be the VW. And then that will get everything lined up, and we actually are going to have to go in here and get this hero wrapped in that main. But then what that's going to do is that's going to whoop do that. So we actually don't want to do that. We do still want to use that main, but we want all of the sections in there to have that padding. So we'll get that into a div class content. Okay. So then we'll go content as padding. That'll allow us to have our divs, all of the divs still have a max width of the viewport, but have that constant grid size. Where am I? I'm not sure how specific I want to get with that, but I'm in the Midwest of the United States, in a relatively medium-sized city in a relatively medium-sized state. I mean, I suppose I put my location on my website, which I always talk about on here, so might as well just say it. I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So getting back to this hero, I think we can center align all of the text. It's going to have white text, and that'll do it. Yeah. So it's going to have white text. We already have a text white class that we can apply. Save that, and we'll say text align center. We're going to have to work out some margins here, but I think that's going to be pretty good. Yeah, this should be bigger, just a little bit. And that might be a different font, actually. Title, design, prototype, spec. Oh, we need to look at the text in there. There we go. Text. That is DM Sans. Medium font weight. Huh. But the font size is 68, so we're looking at 4M. So this title is going to be gigantic. Look at how big that is. Pop that down to font size. Yeah, that's looking a little better. That subtitle needs to be just a little bit larger too, maybe. And that button is going to have a margin of like 2M0. 4M. I find it difficult to believe that designers are giving you so many details. I wish I get designs like these for projects I work on. Yeah, I wish it was like that all the time too, but luckily, so this design I actually found on Dribbble, and the people who designed it supplied the Figma design for free. So that was kind of luck of the draw there. Usually when I'm working with a designer, which is not frequently since I'm a freelancer, the designs that I get it's just a PNG, usually pretty low quality too. So I'm not really able to get this fine of detail out of my designs, or out of the source designs. But the cool thing sometimes is when I do get detailed designs like this. Usually it's not this detailed, but I will get, oh, this is the font family and weights that we're using. These are the like font stylings. Here's the colors, and here's all the image assets that you're going to need. And if there's anything super complex like this background, I'll get those too. Doesn't always happen, but it's really nice when it does. Oh, this does not want to take that margin top. Seriously. Nothing's getting applied. Top, yeah. Is it because it needs to say that? Yep. Let's there we go. All right. Pop that down. And alrighty, back down I don't even think we really need a margin top because that line height at the margin on the paragraph takes care of it. There we go. Cool. Beautiful. All right, and now we've got this image, which is going to be 100% of the width of the element. So, yeah, cool. Look at that. We're looking lovely. And instead of cover on that background property for this, we're going to say about like 80% or so. Yeah. So I just want to make sure that we're getting our background size syntax correctly before I do that. The shorthand, I believe it's going to be horizontal, vertical. Background size, width, first value width of the image, second value height. Yep, cool. So let's go ahead. Where's that? There it is. Background size, 100%, and then we'll say like 75%. I don't know if that's really going to do it, but I think it probably will. Pop over here. Ugh, a little tall yet. Let's go with like 65. And we also, oh, that's because background position needs to be top center. There we go. We are a little small. A little large. Cool. I like that. You can see it's meshing pretty well there. So that's good enough for me. And as we go down, we'll see that kind of gets screwed up, and that'll be okay. We'll fix those as we get there. Liking how this is looking so far. It looks like I've got about 5 minutes before I'm going to take a break. So done with the hero. I'm happy with that. Now we're going to hop into here. So I'm just going to start with markup. So we have got this little byline right here. Let me just pop over to here. We don't really, there's not going to be a huge thing here. There's not going to be like a repeatable class here, I should say. So we're going to give it an ID of features, and that way we'll be able to easily identify it, set the background image. We've got that content container, and then we've got the byline and the title. So we'll call that a span byline text green features h1 class equals title. We are here to help with you. And then we're going to have this grid going on here. We could also do 2 rows of 3 columns with a flexbox. There's a lot of different ways we could do this. So the other thing I really like about Figma is you can get in here and you can find this icon, and you can copy this text. Maybe stinking not. Yes, you can. All right. So we're just going to give this, these are actually going to be cards, and we can break that out into a global component. This is going to be an icon. And the icon in there is going to be chart. And let me just cross-reference with font awesome to make sure. Raphael Paul, just curious, what do you do? Are you a developer or designer? Do you make typos like me all the time? All right, let's see which one we've got here. These are all different kinds of charts. Chart bar, we'll call it. Alrighty. Chart bar. There we go. Looking good. Alright. So we see that line up very well there. So that's looking great. And we're going to go ahead and just keep on with this grid. We have got grow your business copied. It's going to be an H3. And then we've got this P right here. And we've got some bolded text on the first span there. There we go. Alrighty. Alrighty, and those are the cards that we need. So this grid is going to be super simple to set up because it is going to be, it's just going to be 3 rows with a gap, 3 columns, excuse me, with a gap, and 2 rows. And it's going to collapse really nicely because we're going to make it collapse really nicely. Yeah, that's going to be it. So this is going to be FAS percentage. And the text here is going to be something else entirely. Drive more sales. Okay, and keeping some critical has to be bolded here. Alrighty. Alright. Users. Okay. I wish I had some music to play or something, because this, I will admit, is just a little bit boring. Just watching me copy and paste all of this text. So I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to be as efficient as I can with it here. Chart pie. Alrighty, Raphael Paul, sorry to see you go. Thanks for hanging out. Glad you learned something. I'll be back here Friday at the same time if you want to hang again. Awesome. I look forward to seeing you. Take care. Alright. I think this is the last one. Woohoo! Not sure what suitcases have to do with data tracking, but alright. Is that like following your suitcase through an airport? Alright. So now that that boring part is out of the way, I'm going to take a 5 or 10 minute break, stretch around a little bit. I hurt my leg the other day and need to do some yoga. So this is where we're at right now. All of this just needs to be styled and plopped onto its grid. So for anybody that's still here on my amazingly small stream, thank you for hanging out. I will be back in approximately, let's say 7.5 minutes, because I can't decide if I want to go for 5 or 10. Thanks. And I'm back. So just as a recap, we're working off of this here design that I got from Dribbble, and they very kindly included a download for the Figma file, which is the program I'm using here. I am using the in-browser version. I do believe that there is a program that can actually be downloaded. So I'm killing all of my RAM right now. I'm going to tell you right now, we are on a little bit of a time limit. I've got about a half hour left before I gotta skedaddle. But I'm gonna do this in a series. We may not finish this page today, but we will very soon. So back at it, we've already done this header, gotten that looking all nice, and this hero section. So now I'm just working on this section here, and I've done all of the coding here. I'm going to grab the background off of this real quick, and I need to go up here and close all of these off since I already have all of that text and this background. And again, what's really cool about Figma is that you can go in and export the background. And I'm just gonna make sure I have that right. Cool. Really dig that feature. And we're gonna go like this. And call it that. And we'll pop into here. And we'll give and let's take a look here, see what we're looking at. So give this a save. Say hello to my cat, Cowboy Dan. He loves to get up on the desk. Hey, buddy. You can't be up here for too long now, my guy. So you're gonna pull my headphone cord out. All right. And we are having some trouble with the background image here for some reason. Features, background. It's because I gave it a background image, not just a background. There we go. This will do it. Yep. There we go. Cool. So I'm going to throw a little bit of padding on the top there and change up that. Actually, no. It looks like there's absolutely no padding on the top. So then this byline is going to be a global thing that we'll be able to use. We'll go back up here. Byline. It's going to be smaller. Give it 0.75 and text green should be. Wow, I made a big thing there. There we go. It's looking better. Much closer, but I don't think that's actually green. Let's see what that is. Is that the same color? Yeah, it is. Alrighty. So now we've got this grid area, grid columns, repeat, 3, 1 fraction, and grid row. I'm still not, it's still not second nature for me to, for this syntax. There we go. All right, and now we need a little bit of a gap on there. And then we've got our items down here. And that's actually not going to go right in there because that's a global element. It's going to be the card element. And the dark color should be implied. Text, we're going to go with dark text. Alrighty. We're going to have some padding, pretty significant on the top, and similarly significant on the sides. So we'll just say all around, we're going to go 1.5 m on the padding. We've got a border radius of large and in charge. So let's take a look here. See what we're working with. The base has a radius of 15 pixels. Alrighty, cool. We can see as well that the background color is not white. So we need to take a look at what that is. These colors. F9. Bam. Alrighty. And then we'll go down to body, background, color, light, background. There we go. Looking good. Okay. And throw some color in there. Those P's tags are going to be of a different font color. So those are going to have the card, P, color, text, light. And the font weight needs to be less. And let's see, we've got, what do we got for font weights? We've got 500 and 700. We can actually here check that out. Seems like that's actually lighter than that. And we're gonna see. Yeah. It just says mixed. Let's see if we can figure this one out here. Regular. Okay, so we're gonna just throw a 300 into here, and then we're gonna call that 300 there. Does there not exist a 300 font weight for these color card font weight 300? Okay, calling it 700. 500 is already 500 and 300. Okay, so let's just pop open Google Fonts. Wow. Might be 400 that we are forced to work with here. Just see what our options here are. Yep, 400 is the lowest we can go. There we go, that's looking a lot better. All right. Looks like we need to increase our line height just a little tiny bit. Let's see, that line height is at 24 pixels, which is going to be like 1 and a bit because our font size base is 14, so it's going to be almost 2. It's 24 divided by 14, 1.7. Alrighty. Alright, cool. Looking better there. We could see that our width is like way out of whack, and you know what? I'm gonna be okay with that for now. Let's get these icons looked at, which will also be a global element. Back into Figma, we're going to look at how these icons are styled. And we've got the base right here. So the width of this is going to be 50. And then the width of the icon in there is going to be 23. So we're talking about padding of total of 27 pixels or 13.5 on either side. I'm going to make that 25 just to make that easier. So then we have got our eye in there. 12.5 pixels all around and width of 25 pixels. And we have to put a background color on there. So just for demonstration, I'm going to say gray on the background just so that we can see what we're working with. And wow, look at that. That's huge. So we might not even need to put a width on that. Like that, yeah. Okay, so we also need to put a height on that, I believe. Yeah, that's huge. That is giant. So let's just go like this. We'll say display inline. Alright, that's looking a lot better. The width and height have been. Alright. Okay. Cool. it's still saying 50 by 46, even with a well-defined width and height. Because the width should be 25 pixels. Yeah. Oh, that should still, no, all right. So we're going to kind of change that up from a div to a span. Hello there, professional grade beginner. How are you doing? Alrighty. Oh, I'm doing pretty good. You know, just hanging out. Oh, gotta stop using that keyboard shortcut. What stack do I use to create pages? Well, locally I'm using MAMP. I'm actually currently just using the VS Code live preview, but this is just done in HTML and CSS. So that is the way of the future. Alrighty, so now these spans should be giving me what I need. Alright, still saying 50 by 46. When I'm deploying, I do use a lamp stack. Alrighty. These still are not playing nice. 25, alright. Lamp, the way of the future. Did I say that? I don't remember saying that. I'm sorry. Lamp stack is Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. So that can we give it a defined height? Yes, we can. And that still does not make those square. Alright. HTML and CSS is the way of the future. Yeah, I mean, it was a little sarcastic, but not entirely. If you want to not use HTML, I mean, you can't get around not using HTML and CSS, but if you're, doing like JSX and stuff, using React, Angular, Vue, whatever front-end framework, that's great, and there are definitely applications for that. But for stuff like this, for like web pages that are static or don't change much, I think HTML and CSS is just dandy. I think it's fine. Yeah, that's all I got. So rather than trying to define an explicit width and height, we're just going to go like this and say that padding needs to be there. And that's going to be fine for me. We can definitely see now they're saying 16 by 16. So we can also just go just make it play nice, B square. Let's not be in square. All right, so we need to add a border radius to that. That border radius is going to be 15 pixels. Wow. That's like more than what our padding is on it. What happens if I go? Alrighty. What does that make it? There. All right. So there's a lot of styles just for this thing. So we need to give it a display of inline flex. We'll be able to then define our width and height. 25 pixels. Height 25 pixels. Display inline flex. Align items center. Align content center. Justify content center. And remove that extra semicolon. And that gives us what we need. There we go. All right. And then we're going to get some more global classes going on. And let's see, which ones did I use over? I didn't use any yet. So we need our colors is orange, pink, is green, is yellow. All right. Okay, and then we've got our pink, orange, and darker pink, orange. And I'm just going to call those orange because that, on second look, is not pink orange. It is just regular orange. And then we can go back here and remove that background color from the icon and take a look at what we've got. Nothing. Because we need to give that this. There we go. Beautiful. Now we just need is green, is yellow. Is yellow. Is teal, is purple. And this last one is, what did I call that? Baby blue. Alrighty. is green is yellow. Got put that on the right element. So is teal is purple. And is baby blue. Alrighty. Green is not working because got green and dark green. Did I make a typo somewhere? Oh no, that was the one I had to move, wasn't it? There we go. Cool. There's that. Alright. I think I'm going to wrap it up right here for now because I have got to get going and do some stuff. I've got some laundry to fold. I've got pets to cat. I've got food to eat. So, next time you see me and we see each other and I see you, we are going to code the rest of this. We've got this 3 more sections, which will be a lot easier than what we've done already. Because we already have a bunch of our utility classes like these icons set up. And then we're going to have some more images to work with, some beautiful background gradients, and then we're going to work on this footer. So thank you for hanging out. I will see you on Friday at 11 a.m. As always, my streams are archived on my YouTube page. When I'm online at natenorthway.com. That's NateNorthway.com, where you can find dozens of blog posts relating to web design and development. Lots of stuff focusing on the front end. And archive of all my projects and everything. So it would be great to see you there. Thank you for joining me today. Follow me on Twitter for good jokes. We will see you soon. Thanks. Bye.